I think I can confidently say that MegaMan Battle Network is finally back. So it feels a bit surreal to talk about Battle Network again, because the last time I did talk about Battle Network was almost a year ago, I'd say, where the Battle Network Legacy Collection just released. And so about a year later now, to this very moment, it just feels really fun to talk about a game that was part of the GBA roster in the early 2000s, finally getting a spotlight here in 2023. Like, that is just amazing. And as a MegaMan fan here, just absolutely mind-blowing. But of course, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily know who MegaMan Battle Network is, or the entire sub-series for that matter, compared to, MegaMan Zero, MegaMan X, and of course MegaMan Original. We can't also forget about MegaMan Legends. So I'll throw a little bit of history before talking about sort of like the whole purpose of what this video is all about. So MegaMan Battle Network was a series of GBA games that Capcom decided to make in terms of providing another rendition of Mega Man. At that point in the early 2000s, you basically had Mega Man Original, Mega Man X, probably I think having Mega Man X6 as its latest game at the time before Mega Man X7 on the PS2. And then I guess about a year or so later after Battle Network, you had the Mega Man Zero franchise. So Mega Man Battle Network was kind of like the answer to Capcom's handheld entry before diving into, Zero's story down the line. And from 2001 to 2005, before the introduction to the DS, they basically had a total of 6 titles from Battle Network 3 onwards, having a duology where it was 1 and 2 dual versions because they were trying to compete with Pokemon at the time, I guess. And so you basically have these 6 games that you can now have access to thanks to the Battle Network Legacy Collection that just released. And again, a very surreal moment for me, and I'm sure plenty of others who grew up in the early 2000s, because even though I never got to experience the Battle Network, in terms of its games, I did experience the GameCube counterpart, which was network transmission, the attempt of utilizing the Battle Network mechanics and applying a Mega Man original platforming style to it. And of course, you can't forget about the anime, Mega Man NT Warrior. It was just an amazing time to be a Mega Man fan, and so you can understand a little bit why this particular Legacy Collection holds a very special place in my heart. The same with the X Collection, but with this one, there's just a lot more nostalgia in terms of like the memories it has and just the feel to what this game offers. Plus, to be honest here, I kind of wish they did throw in network transmission in, even though I do understand that that was a mixed reception in terms of, everything that it was trying to do. But hey, I love that game, okay? Like I said, I'm a huge Mega Man fan. I don't care if the game sucks, I enjoy it to the very end. But of course, the purpose of this video is whether or not the respect is real on this one. It is in the title after all, and this isn't my first rodeo doing this kind of stuff. So let's just get down to the nitty gritty and really find what makes this Legacy Collection so unique as opposed to the other ones, and why I consider it one of the better ones in my opinion. But of course, as a quick disclaimer, since usually these types of videos aren't necessarily scripted, I have notes on my computer here and also on my phone and all that kind of stuff to kind of keep me grounded and ensuring that I'm not stuttering too much or like I'm rambling for on and on. So I do have some notes in terms of my experiences with the Battle Network Legacy Collection, but bear in mind that this is not scripted at all, and you might see certain segments where I'm just going to be talking about the same thing over and over again. So just want to throw that out there before we finally begin. So now, of course, the first thing in regards to the Battle Network Legacy Collection, why I consider the respect is real for this one is, first of all, the content of this game. So compared to all the other Legacy Collections, or at least comparing it to the original, because Mega Man Legacy Collection Original did have all 10 games that you can now play at this current moment in time, releasing back in 2015 and I think 2017 respectively. But with Battle Network Legacy Collection, from the get-go, for 60 bucks alone, you can get all 10 games right at your disposal here. Like, yes, there's also the option of splitting the volumes. They're considered as volumes 1 and volume 2, with both having, 1, 2, and 3, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 with their dual versions and all that kind of stuff. But for $60, that alone is a guaranteed, and why I consider it to be, respectful in my opinion, is because for those 60 bucks, you have both volumes. You don't have to pay them separately as you normally would have done with the previous Legacy Collections, with the exception of the Zero ZX, where that was all bundled nicely, which is why I appreciate that one a lot more as well. And with Battle Network, it's just you have a lot of content at your disposal, and yeah, you can argue that, oh, you're technically playing 6 games. You just have the option to choose which version you want to play from Battle Network 3 onwards. But honestly, it's 10 games. If you enjoyed one version, you're most likely going to end up playing the other version just to see the different chips they have at their disposal, the different sort of story beats that it might have, and probably the different characters that were not introduced in one version but were in the other. So content-wise, Legacy Collection for Battle Network here is a lot. Like, there is a lot to look forward to, and personally I think it really is worth the $60 because it's all bundled nicely and you have a lot to look forward to as well. Other thing also that I really enjoy in the content aspect, and these are very minute details that normally you wouldn't pay attention to, is obviously, you know, the gallery, the music, the chip function, the online play. That was very concerning early on before Mr. Famous ensured us that, hey, there is going to be online play, so that's going to be very excited. I'm actually very excited for that particular because I do know that there was a competitive scene back in the day with MegaMan Battle Network. So with this online play, I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see the revival of that competitive scene. Only time will tell, of course. This collection, I would rather say, just released a couple of days ago, so we'll have to wait and see for that. But overall, the minute details, the menu, the fact that they managed to get the anime voice actor for MegaMan.exe back and literally inviting you in to play the Battle Network series, those details are just amazing and absolutely, like, there's no words, to be honest. Like, it's just amazing. But enough about content. You also want to know about the gameplay aspects. And the gameplay of MegaMan Battle Network, I know a lot of people are throwing the term that it's an action JRPG, but to be all completely honest here, I would just consider this to be a turn-based action game. And the reason why I say it's turn-based action game is because throughout all 6 titles, it's generally utilizing the original formula in terms of you got 8 robot masters, to put it lightly, or net navies. Then you get to fight. There's a final boss with like Dr. Wily or some invention that's out there that could destroy the entire world as we know it. So it has sort of like the similar elements to the original games, and also X for that matter, but it's more stretched out. And the way it's stretched out is that it kind of has like a dungeon system where I can see the JRPG comparisons, but the gameplay aspect, like the combat and the animation style and everything, it just feels more like an action game that just ends up having turn-based RPG elements, and in turn kind of gives it a JRPG feel, but in reality it really isn't. But it's still fun gameplay at the end of the day, and since I know mostly the gameplay aspect from Network Transmission, it was fairly easy to apply all that I knew from that game into this one and just kind of like learn the ropes and see like, oh, certain chips require, you know, an alphabetical order, so you can use more chips. There's also utilization of like the buster and the upgrade, you know, with power-up programs and HP memory. So there's a lot of gameplay content and combat utility that this game offers as opposed to the other games. But in terms of its structure, it's basically a longer Mega Man game. It's way more stretched out, but in a very good way, because everything else in terms of story, characters, and dynamics really works well for this rendition of Mega Man. So yeah, it's gameplay phenomenal. It is amazing. It really speaks to the time of the GBA, and it's just incredible to see a different side to Mega Man as opposed to the run and gun aspects that we know from Mega Man Original, Mega Man X, and then a year later in terms of Battle Network's timeline here, Mega Man 0 and then ZX and onwards. And also, to kind of add further on with the gameplay aspect and the combat, I do want to recommend a video that I watched, and it really made me, you know, appreciate Battle Network a whole lot more now. And that is from Video Game Study Animation, where he basically studies the entire animation of the Battle Network series. And I highly recommend you watch this video. It most likely is going to be in your feed or on the recommended page, because Battle Network is a hot topic at the moment. But it is worth watching because it kind of shows you that Capcom really paid so much attention to the level of detail and style and aesthetics that they wanted for this rendition of Mega Man, and seeing it in a modern context really is such a nice thing to see, especially when you consider, you know, the hyper realistic graphics and all that kind of stuff. So just seeing pixelated graphics in a modern game setting It is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. I love pixelated graphics. I love the style of those games, and Battle Network is no exception to that rule. But of course, yes, the answer is obvious. The respect for Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection is indeed real for this one. Capcom really paid a lot of attention and care to detail and appreciation for this rendition of Mega Man, and it shows, you know, the subtle details, the way they wanted to emulate this game, and the way that they said, alright, listen, we understand that you guys will, if not most likely, will riot if there is no online play, if we kind of screw up the emulation and things like that. Although I will agree with everybody else, the HD filter graphics should not be a thing. Capcom, that's the one screw up you consistently make with the Legacy Collections, because melting those pixelated graphics to have that HD feel to them just does not work. It hurts everybody's eyes. It's such a bad decision. So please, for the next Legacy Collection, although the next one are going to be 3D based, try to kind of, you know, not do that. But overall, the respect really is real for this one. I highly recommend you get these games. And to be honest, my personal preference in terms of where to get it on the Nintendo Switch, okay? These are GBA games. They deserve to be treated as such, and so I highly recommend you get it on the Nintendo Switch, or if it's Steam Deck operable, you can get it on Steam as well. But trust me, you will not regret playing this on a handheld setting, because that gives you the definitive and true experience of what these games offered back in 2001 until 2005. But yeah, that's basically all of my entire thoughts on the collection, at least, because in terms of each and every game separate, obviously I have to play each and every one of them, and hopefully down the line we will do a review marathon on all those games. You have to remember that the Mega Man Battle Network series is roughly a 10 to 15 hour experience, I would argue, because there are technically RPGs to some extent at the end of the day. But in terms of the Legacy Collection, these are all my thoughts. It is definitely an amazing time to be a Mega Man fan for sure. It really shows that Mega Man is indeed back, no matter the rendition. And maybe down the line, thanks to this Battle Network Legacy Collection, we might see a potential Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection and a Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection, because those are the last two that need a definitive package, and hopefully with this Legacy Collection we might see those come to fruition. And who knows, maybe we might get that fabled third game for Legends if the support is there at the end of the day. So please, go get this Legacy Collection. Go tell Capcom that this is truly a step in the right direction. We want to see more of this. We want to see Mega Man back in action, in not just in a collection, but in terms of newer entries to the franchise, like a Mega Man X9, perhaps a Mega Man Battle Network 7 or something, or again, a Mega Man Legends 3. But only time will tell, and the support for this as well. Seriously though, that's honestly all I have to say with that. I hope you guys enjoyed and have a wonderful night or a wonderful day, depending on when you watch this or depending on when I upload this. Only time will tell on that front. But hey, I do have good stuff cooking for you guys to enjoy as well, especially Mega Man related. I'm in the mood for a lot of Mega Man content, and I did do Mega Man X in the past. Maybe I'll bring that up. We do have Mega Man X4 on the horizon in terms of continuing on that marathon. But only time will tell with your support as well. So I really recommend you support the content. You watch all the videos, you watch all the reviews, do all that kind of stuff, spread the word, because it means a lot at the end of the day, and it kind of shows that I am doing exactly what you guys would want to see from me do and all that kind of stuff. Plus, hey, wait, it is what it is. It's YouTube stuff. Just do what you gotta do on that front. Besides all of that, thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I love you all as always to 120. But seriously though, you gotta get those games, okay? Like, trust me, you will not regret it. Show Capcom the money, because we really want those other Legacy Collections, okay?